Matthew 7:15. I'm sat in my attic typing this post and I've cried all the tears I can cry. I feel sick. I feel terrified. He's downstairs right now, crawling around the house on all fours. I need advice. I need help. Dale was so funny. His smile was so infectious. His laugh that could brighten even the darkest of days. All of this complemented by his gorgeous green eyes and his thick brown hair. He loved the outdoors too. Ever since we were knee-high childhood friends, Dale was always the one out from sunrise to sunset, racing around on his bike with the rest of the kids from the neighborhood. Water fights in the summer, snowball fights in the winter. As we both got older into our adolescence, he consistently had a sports meet to attend or some practice he was late for. Always armed with a racket, a ball, or even a frisbee in his ultimate frisbee phase. Then we began dating right after university. His degree was in sports science, naturally, and mine was in psychology. When we ended up attending universities on opposite sides of the country, I thought mine and Dale's paths permanently split, going in different directions that the inevitability of time ensures with many friendships. Not us though. I just turned 21. He was 22 and he sent me a message on July 24th. The date is significant as 2 days prior was my birthday. Dale always jokes how he innocently got the dates mixed up. I have my suspicions he tactically waited to ensure his message didn't get the generic "thanks means a lot" reply that I was pumping out to all the other friends sending me birthday wishes after Facebook had prompted them to. Dale thought he was so clever. I suppose it did work. To this day he keeps up the reoccurring joke that my true birthday is July 24th. He'll put out his social media post then, and he circles that date on calendars and annotates it with a big Ellie's birthday in all capitals. Hell, one year he even organized a birthday shout-out on the radio for me on the 24th. Anyway, I'm rambling. After he slid into my DMs, we began dating. We both fortunately bagged some pretty decent jobs in Edinburgh, Scotland. I work as a criminal profiler and him as a PE teacher. Edinburgh was the natural pick. We both love the old Scottish folklore, tales of kelpies and sprites, and of course the Loch Ness Monster. Scotland also has some of the best camping laws in the world. If you can walk around there, you can essentially camp there. The public have ramblers' rights with mountains, moors, and forests, all within legality to explore and camp. Naturally, dating the man I do, a camping trip within our first couple of months living here was a must. We waited for the warm, or as much as Scotland can offer, May weather and began planning our route. We'd leave Edinburgh and head west before driving north. This would take us directly to Galloway Forest, the biggest in the country. Spanning over 300 miles, the forest is also a dark sky region, with the country limiting the light in this area to provide more starry nights. This, of course, creates some beautiful but dark nights. This might be one of the reasons for the countless stories of mythical creatures and silly monsters that spew out of the region. We disregarded this. Dale already had all the camping gear, a tent for us to share, a blow-up mattress, 2 sleeping bags, camp chairs. I wasn't joking when I said my man lived for the outdoors. I looked at myself in the mirror and smiled, my reflection smiling back. Life really does have its way of working itself out. I head out the door with my reflection mirroring my behavior. "I got you a wee surprise as well, my love," he said with a grin on his face, as he loaded the second chair into the back of the car. "And what would that be?" "Well, you'll have to wait and see, won't you?" I smiled and gently punched his arm jokingly. He knew I hated surprises. The drive there was long, but the walk after we parked the car up was even longer. Dale insisted on going as deep into the woods as we could, away from the pesky civilization he constantly claimed was such a nuisance. We finally settled on a small clearing amongst the towering oak trees that surrounded us for miles. Dale sat his bag down immediately, unloading the equipment we'd hauled for miles. I also took a seat, but purely to admire the scenery, the peace, the silence. The silence that was broken by a deafening scream. The scream ripped through the air like a knife through butter. The acoustics of the forest making it seem endless, echoing around, making its point of origin or its proximity to us indeterminable. The only sound I could compare it to would be nails on a chalkboard, but with the volume of a sonic boom. I stood up from my perch on the floor immediately, looking at Dale in horror. I could see the slight panic on his face too, a juxtaposition of his typical calmness in stressful situations. "Babe, what the hell was that?" I asked him with a mix of fear and anger. He paused, his eyes still scanning around the trees surrounding us hopelessly. "I'm sure it was maybe a fox or something." "A fox? Dale, that sound did not come from a fox. It could be some sort of big cat. I mean, I read reports that they get brought over illegally and let out into the wild. You're telling me we could be sharing the wood with a mountain lion in Scotland?" Dale met my eyes, giving me a look of uncertainty. "Dale, we're leaving. We can't. Sun sets in less than 45 minutes. The walk back to anywhere remotely civilized will take at least 2 hours. We can't do the walk in the dark. That'd be far more dangerous than anything that could have produced that sound." I looked at him with my mouth agape. I could see the uncertainty in his eyes, but he corrected this quickly, his concern easing and a wry smile beginning to break the tension. "You'll be all right, Elle. You're with me after all." I couldn't help but giggle. We soon forgot about the scream. After we set up the tent and got a small fire going, it soon began to get dark. We took this as our sign to crack open the bottle of wine we'd brought with us. Dale pulled the red from his bag along with 2 wine glasses. He filled them up and handed me mine. "I propose a toast," he said gallantly, "to my gorgeous Elle, without whom I don't know what I would do. To this beautiful forest we've found ourselves at the heart of, and to God." "Cheers, my love," I replied, clinking our glasses together. After that, we just chatted the night away, watching the fire dance in front of us, holding hands, listening to the crackle of the kindling. "Think we're gonna need a wee top-up on firewood," Dale said. "Okay, babe, be careful." He rose from his perch on the log and marched off into the forest, a slight sway in his step from the alcohol. I giggled like a little girl, so in love, so happy at that moment. He went beyond the tree line into the darkness, and I heard him begin to break branches. Snap, 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 crack. An unusually loud, slightly different crack came from the darkness. I heard Dale gasp and then nothing. "Babe," I said as I got up. "Babe," I shouted with more urgency, running into the trees. I was immediately engulfed by darkness, the illumination of the campfire soon shrouded out by the trees. I kept shouting Dale's name in a panic, scouring the dark forest floor as best as I could, searching for his potentially incapacitated body. The tears began to roll down my face and my heart pounded through my chest, as every second that passed with no sign of him. Then I heard it. "Elle." It was just a whisper, one that could have been mistaken for a gust of wind amongst the trees, but my heightened senses in this stressful environment urged me to pursue it. I looked in the direction I heard the whisper from, which was up. I swore up and down it came from above me in the dark branches of the trees that covered me from the night sky. As my eyes adjusted more to the dark, I saw it. The silhouette of a figure up in the trees, it looked to be reaching towards me, reaching out its hand, and then, "Ellie!" a voice called from back in the campsite. "Dale!" I cried. I raced back to the campsite and saw Dale stood there. I ran up and embraced him, jumping into his arms with relief. "You're freezing," I told him, pulling my arms back from his ice-cold skin. "Where's the firewood? How are you going to warm up now?" I continued. "Something dropped down from the trees, a bat maybe," Dale replied. I thought back to the silhouette I'd seen in the tree, much larger than a bat. I kept it to myself though, not wanting to stress Dale more. "I think we'll just go to sleep now anyway. I don't really want to go back out there." "Oh, okay, my love, let me get ready for bed." I began getting changed in the tent, watching as Dale just looked out into the woods. He was frozen, just staring into the same spot in the tree line he'd entered before, staring into the same dark abyss. "Are you coming to bed, babe?" I called. "Yes." "All right then," I thought. He was probably just spooked. We got wrapped up in our sleeping bags in silence before turning off the small light illuminating the tent. I nodded off fairly fast, considering the circumstances. That's when it happened. Something woke me. I'm not sure what or at what time, but my body instantly felt in a state of panic. I knew something was watching me. I opened my eyes ever so slightly, my long eyelashes covering the small slither of pupil in between my eyelids, enough to see without giving away that I was awake. Dale was sat up still in the dark. His legs were crossed and up very high, his knees uncomfortably close to his chest. His eyes were wide open, wider than I'd ever seen them, and he was staring right at me. My palms immediately started sweating and my heart raced once again. He was looking at me like some piece of meat, not blinking, no discernible emotion, just staring. I closed my eyes again, not moving, paralyzed in fear. I pretended to start waking up, stretching my arms. I heard his sleeping bag rustle, and when I turned over, he was pretending to be sleeping again. I was stunned, lying there awake for the rest of the night until the comfort of the sunrise saved me. The next morning, Dale said he wasn't feeling well and wanted to go home. Odd. The man spends every minute of his life outdoors and all of a sudden wants to pack up and leave. I didn't argue, instead beginning to pack up the stuff with him. The walk back to the car was silent, so awkward. Occasionally, I'd turn around to catch Dale lagging behind, staring at me again. Every time he saw me look, he'd avert his gaze to somewhere else. Once we got back in the car, Dale complained he was too tired to drive, that he just wanted to rest in the back. I reluctantly agreed. He knew how much I hated long drives, but I suppose if he wasn't feeling well, I should probably cater to him. "What's wrong?" I asked him. "I just want to get out of the sun. I hate being outdoors," he replied. This was odd. I hate being outdoors. He must really not be feeling well. The whole drive, he maintained his newfound unnerving stare. I could feel it now, burning into the back of my head. I could almost sense a feeling of danger. Every muscle in my body screamed at me for the entire car ride to pull over and run, but I didn't, and nothing happened yet. We got back this morning, with Dale taking himself off to bed almost immediately. I sat downstairs, worrying about him. What happened to him out in the woods? Did he really just get ill? Why has he been staring so much? I decided I had to confront him. I marched up the stairs and placed my hand on the doorknob, preparing myself to open it, but I heard him scurry on the other side as if he was hurriedly getting out of a compromising position. I opened the door to see Dale sat on the floor. his legs crossed and his knees uncomfortably close to his body once again. "Is everything okay, Ellie?" he asked. "What's going on with you? You've been acting so strange since the camping trip. Did I say something?" "Babe, please just be honest with me." "I'm fine, babe, I'm just tired." He smiled and chuckled. I looked at him closely. His smile was so hideous, his teeth stained a muddy brown. His laugh made me feel nauseous with fear and intimidation. All of this exacerbated by his widened pale blue eyes. Pale blue eyes. It was also at this moment I noticed he'd drawn all of the curtains closed to keep out the sun. An apparent hatred of the outdoors that my man loved so much. "When's my birthday, Dale?" I asked. His smile dropped, his stare widened. "July 24th, of course." "My real birthday," I replied, noticing his eyes locked onto the calendar on the wall behind me. "That is your real birthday. It says it on the wall behind you. Ellie's birthday. You are Ellie." My heart dropped and a pit of terror opened up in my stomach. I felt tears begin to well in my eyes and a fear so primal I didn't know what to do. That man was not my boyfriend. Dale noticed my realization and stood to his feet in a singular, smooth, almost impossible motion. I looked at what he was holding, grasping a handful of dirt from the now empty plant pot on the bedside table. He maintained his stare, never breaking eye contact, as he slowly raised the dirt to his mouth, before hurriedly shoving it in there. He munched on it ferociously like a ravenous beast, swallowing it without even a glimpse of discomfort. He licked the dirt surrounding his lips, savoring every morsel. "Go to the attic," he pointed up. The tears were now streaming down my face. I opened my mouth to speak, but the words almost refused to come out. I slowly turned and obliged, feeling his stare piercing the back of my head as I pulled down the stairs to the dark attic and climbed up. I barely reached the top when I felt them slam behind me. Darkness. I sat there for a moment just thinking about what had transpired. Had I really just seen that? I felt a buzz in my pocket. Oh my God, my phone. I hurriedly reached my trembling hands into my pocket, pulling it out, the screen illuminated by a Snapchat notification. I had Wi-Fi, but this bastard attic had no signal. I raced to type a Snapchat message to one of my friends, loading the app up, the waiting time taking almost an eternity. The message was from Grace, my best friend. I opened the chat. "Elle, what the hell? That's so horrible, you can be such an asshole sometimes." What? What was she even referring to? I scrolled to the message above that, a voice message sent only 3 minutes ago, sent from me. Damn it. My work phone downstairs is logged into Snapchat too, but what could it be? I tapped the message and the sound that played was the worst sound I could imagine. Worse than that scream the other night. The sound of my own voice. I don't even want to repeat the things said on that voice message, and before I even had a chance to justify myself, Grace had blocked me. That was when I noticed more and more of these messages being sent to all my friends, to my work colleagues. It was only when I put my ear to the floor of the basement, when I heard him, or should I refer to him as it, recording these messages with an uncanny resemblance of my voice. That brings me here. I can hear it moving furniture around the house. I can hear it scuttling around by the sounds of it on all fours. I'm at a loss. I don't know what to do. I'm terrified for my life, for Dale's life, for all of yours. I turned my head to the mountain of boxes in the attic. Posters, paintings, and anonymous stuff sprawling out of them. There was one in particular that caught my eye. One of Dale's posters labeled with a biblical passage, one that seemed to taunt me. Matthew 7:15, Beware of false prophets who come to you in sheep's clothing, but inwardly they are ravenous wolves.